Do we have a regulation on
Yeah.
how it is going on general?
They adopted it.
Okay, that's good.
10%.
Fuck them.
Meeting to order, roll call for Selectmen.
I don't know anything about that.
Marshall, roll call.
Marshall Bishop, here.
Steve McWinney here.
Mike Jean here. To stand and say pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so I have a motion to go in non-public.
Can you quote the,
You get the,
Mr. Chairman, can you quote the non-public?
I make a motion to go into non-public by RSA 91-A, semicolon 3, Roman numeral 2, parentheses C.
do I have a second?
And I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks.
Have they made a motion? Heidi, have they made a motion yet?
We have a motion to come out of non-public.
Make a motion to come out of non-public.
And I second it.
All in favor?
Aye. Make a motion that we seal those minutes.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's one, we recorded it.
Are we taking like a 2-minute break?
We're taking a break?
Yeah. I'm gonna,
Okay, do you want to take a break?
yeah,
Okay. We'll let them sign in.
okay. Do you want me to leave this running? I'm gonna leave it running.
Why? Chairman, do you want?
Do you want me to leave this running while I take a break?
You can leave it off, they're gonna be signing in.
Okay.
I don't know what to say right now. I mean, leave me speechless as to how big we've done it here. You want that? Why, I should get it tomorrow. No.
Say again? Yes.
You're the moderator. I'm an average guy.
Tell
I'm not gonna say.
Ask Chairman, make sure we get everybody's signatures before we start.
Yeah. There's still a couple of them signing.
I don't get it. I don't get the word either.
This is 2013, I'm trying to. Yeah. I guess in 2013. It's fine to go by the books, but just don't.
When do you want to go? We'll check it out.
I gotta get the card. You gotta get a card.
Has anyone helped
Did
with the
everybody
sign
sign in?
sheet?
Nope.
Signing sheets coming around.
And I used to call when
Why you have to go to
And if it's something you want to do, I don't think you should restart. Do it in your own mind. So I'm behind this. You want to open up that, So this is gonna be legal. How many years is it gonna be for legal recreation? 5 years? Somebody some years ago, the climate.
And I was taking the, I did
That's all the time.
I don't know. He's been successful. He did. I didn't know much of that later. I was just an average he had focus I can learn something from him.
Please come back in the future. This guy will come back. And that guy's gonna pass.
Second, no, that's just an agenda, yeah.
So that's the date. I think it's 6. It's 22nd.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Matt, can you sign?
Chiefs and
Well, maybe.
Okay, if everybody's all signed in, we're gonna start with the public input right off the bat here. At 7 o'clock, well, just before 7. What do you got for official time yet, Paul?
6:56.
6:56. Do we have any public input? Public comments?
I guess I'll start. If nobody else wants to speak.
And Brett?
I want to clarify what was said in the Laconia Citizen by Mr. Branscombe. Mr. Branscombe said that I accused him of being responsible for a $3 increase in the tax rate. I never said anything about a $3 increase in the tax rate. If you listen to the April 25th meeting minutes on the audio, you will hear that I said that Mr. Branscombe underreported the anticipated revenues for the year 2015 by approximately $300,000 is my guess, is what I've been told by budget committee members, which equates to about 66 cents on the tax rate. On the municipal side, I explained it was the town portion of the tax rate that I was talking about, and you can hear that clearly on the tape. And the other thing I said is if he would have recommended to you to buy down the rate with money from the undesignated fund balance, there would not have been any increase in the town portion of our tax bills, which is an absolute fact. And you, Mr. Dean, wrote in this town report that it had nothing, it was gonna be spiking and we couldn't do anything about it, basically is what that says on page 30 of the town report, which is totally false.
I put in there the assessed value for the town for all 3 years.
Yeah, but,
The assessed value went down the year they did the reassessment.
yeah,
Then it went up a little bit, then it went up a little bit more.
but what the narrative is you could expect a spike, and this was the year that you really couldn't buy the rate down. My point is, you easily could have bought the rate down with about 340 to 350,000 from the 1.2 to 1.3 million dollar fund balance, which would have left approximately 900,000 in there. When we use these numbers, when we use the top of the list numbers, we're not a town like most towns. We don't need this huge number like Meredith, like Belmont. We have no structure, we have nothing to worry about as far as, we don't have city water. We're not gonna have a big water issue where we have to come up with a gobble of money. We don't have city sewer. So we're not gonna have a failure in the roadway by a city sewer line breaking, which is gonna cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. We have very little things that really could go wrong that you need millions of dollars to fix. So if we stay closer to 800,000 in that undesignated fund balance, you wouldn't have meetings that start off with public input because you're signing tax agreements tonight. I just want you guys to make sure that you tell the people what I said. In the paper, I said nothing about the $3, like Mr. Branscombe, if he's quoted properly in the Citizen, told them. I said nothing about the school portion. I was a selectman. I realized that the select board has no way they can change the school money. It's not your purview. So please, if you're gonna talk to the paper, Mr. Branscombe, please tell what I said. That's all I ask.
Anybody else? Public input? Don?
Since I saw on the agenda the actual public participation, and then I went back and looked at what the board, which was made up of actually Ralph Lavin and Brett Courier and myself, the actual number one, which is, I think everybody has it here, we realized if you go back, which you guys are researching and trying to understand how the board handles public input. If you go back from that period of time and then you move forward, you'll see that the board made the effort to start, and I'm going to guess that we thought that it might be convenient to have the public input at the beginning of the selectmen's meetings. But then we realized through complaints from the residents that they weren't able to make that period of time. So we moved public input, and I'm going to say for a really long time, from 7 to 7:30. So if you do move it to the beginning of your selectmen's meeting, and I know that this meeting has started late, you'll end up with the same complaint that occurred with us, is that people will say that they can't make the 6 o'clock and that they can make the 7 o'clock. So I would ask you to consider keeping public input at 7 o'clock, just because of the residents.
Well, for the next few weeks, we're gonna have non-publics at the beginning of the meeting, so.
Okay.
I like to get the meetings pushed off, because by the time I get home from work and get here, it's running, so. Okay, any other, Rhonda, you had?
I do. Again, I was reading the Citizen and I spent a good deal of time last week going over some of my concerns with the board. And I'm just kind of offended that Mr. Branscombe said in the paper that it was a witch hunt. I think I had some valid points. And I don't know how that could be misconstrued as a witch hunt. So if I could just briefly recap what I said to you, it's not even a page. I read the Citizen article regarding last week's meeting. I would like to ask Mr. Branscombe what he meant by a witch hunt in reference to my comments last week. I hope you've all had a chance to listen to yourselves on the audio tape of April 4th. I'm sure by now you all wish you hadn't been caught saying such inflammatory things, but you can't just unsay them. Steve, you can't unsay that you wanted to start with a clean slate. Then you brought forward a motion to cut Stephanie Fogg to part-time. You can't just take someone's job away without just cause just because you're grudging against her family. Marshall, you can't unsay that you were trying to protect Stephanie from being put in a compromising position because of who her relatives happen to be, and insinuating that you couldn't talk in front of her because of her brother-in-law, Don Garino. By trying to protect her, your words, you chose to follow through with Steve McQuinney's motion to start with a clean slate, thus taking away Stephanie's full-time position and benefits. How in the world does that protect her? Michael, you can't unsay that Annette is making mistakes and she is overpaid, nor can you talk like this about any employees in a public meeting. Mike, you also can't deny that you said a contractor, Mr. McBride, did something illegal. He's a private citizen, and what you said could be damaging to his reputation and livelihood. In the newspaper, you are quoted as saying, "At this time, you are inactive with the fire department. However, you are still on their roster, so the increase in pay that you were campaigning for will actually benefit you. I cannot tell you how inappropriate it is for a selectman to do that. It's a huge conflict of interest." Mr. Branscombe, you can't unsay that the former police chief, who is still a current employee with this town, was playing tricks with the police department's money. Again, saying something like that insinuates Joe Collins was misusing department funds. Comments like those could be considered slanderous to his good reputation. All of the above-mentioned things were talked about by me in last week's meeting and can be heard on the April 4th audio tape. It wasn't a witch hunt, as Mr. Branscombe is quoted as saying. It was actually based on words coming out of the mouths of these three selectmen and Paul Branscombe. So, Mr. Branscombe, I would appreciate an explanation of what you meant by a witch hunt.
I have no comment, Mrs. Green.
Unfortunately, this board and Mr. Branscombe can't unring the bell. What's done is done, and this is only just the beginning of the follow-up from your actions. And then I have just a quick request. I have a letter to request something. During the April 4th meeting, Steve McQuinney can be heard adamantly attempting to get the board to approve a 10% reduction to all town budgets. I can only assume Steve has carefully scrutinized every line of the budget and is prepared to make recommendations as to how each department can make a 10% cut. To repeatedly be heard trying to press the issue during your April 4th meeting, he must have some solid ideas. I would ask that Steve provide to the public at your next scheduled meeting a copy of his budget cut findings. I'm sure the budget committee would welcome those suggestions as to how to save 10% across the board. Please consider this document my written request for Selectman McQuinney to provide us with a copy of his recommendations. Sincerely, Brenda Courier.
Thank you.
And that's all I have.
Any other comments? Public input?
Sandy Garino.
I'm appalled what I heard from my sister Stephanie Fogg, who said that Paul Branscombe has taken her aside a number of times and asked if Don Garino, she leaked information to Don Garino. I'm just like, Stephanie could not be the nicest person, the most professional person, and I'm just I'm appalled at this board and Stephen McQuinney for saying what he has said. When Stephanie tried tried to talk to Stephen because he would come in to that office and say hi to everybody except for Stephanie Fogg. Stephanie is not Sandy Garino and she's not Dawn Garino, and you have totally taken it the wrong step, Stephen McWhinney. She asked you to come out in the hallway so she could get through this. And you said that I said vile things about you, which I did not, and that you didn't care. Stephanie has been extremely sick because of this hostile environment that she's been in. It just makes me sick at the whole board, everybody that's here. And that's all I have to say, because I'm sure nobody's going to respond to it.
Any other public comments or input? Okay, if there's no other public comments, I'm going to close the public comment section. 7:12, is that the time you go?
7:08.
7:08. Have to fix that clock up there. Okay, we have the minutes of April 25th. You guys have any comments on those minutes? Nasha, did you have any comments?
No, I don't.
Nope, I'm good.
Do I have a motion to approve them as submitted?
I make a motion that we submit these.
And I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
On April 4th, we had an amendment to those. You guys see the amendment? Do I have a
I
motion
make a
on
motion
motion
that we approve
as amended?
as amended.
And I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. G, can you just explain what that amendment was, which was the timestamp?
On page
The last
6,
Yep.
she deleted the time we came out of non-public.
I didn't have my main notes, and I just wanted to make sure everybody gets this on the same page. I didn't have my main draft notes, and clearly the audio said 24 minutes time versus the 1 minute difference that was on there. So for the accurate record, I will keep the original draft with it that has the 1 minute between, but I wanted it to reflect correctly between the audio and the actual minutes.
So you're changing the minute time?
No, the incorrect timestamp on the motion. Yes, to reflect what was correctly done in the audio. There was two timestamps on
There was
on
one
the
at
4th.
8:49 and
8:40,
8:50?
right, but there was only the 8:50 reflected in the notes. 8:49 was not reflective.
Why was it written on the thing?
It was a mistake on my part. I didn't have my original notes to, I'm just telling you.
It's kind of funny that 3 selectmen missed it, plus you.
I don't,
Sounds fishy to me, but that's okay.
that's your opinion, Mr.
Yeah.
Courier.
It is.
Okay, on the, going to April 18th, you guys had a chance to review those?
Yep. Then I make a motion that we approve them as amended.
And I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
You have, the abatement request, Paul?
Can I make a suggestion, Mr. Chairman, that we just mention about the error in the non-public when we had with Chief Courier, that we mentioned 4 public items, which I talked to the Chief about, and he's here. Chief?
Yep.
Could you come in a minute, and this is a
You
good
want to
time.
explain that out, Paul?
to- I talked to the Chief today, and we spoke about the fact that when we were in non-public, we did address your list, and we didn't go, whoa, these are public issues. So I think the board, if we could talk about them now and just mention in public
Yeah,
session
that's what I talked about.
what they were, please, Chief. Yeah, thank you.
First thing I talked about was the reading of my PT failure in public, how I'd never heard it before, and it seemed like it was done for an embarrassment factor to me. Second thing I talked about was my medical status being talked about in public, how I had surgery, that I'd never heard it before. Didn't think it was appropriate for anyone to be talking about my medical issues in a public setting. Number 3, talked about Mr. Branscombe being a liaison between the department heads and the Board of Selectmen. Talked about if he thought I was already paid too much, would my yearly review be done fairly? Purchase orders, just clarified how to go about getting the new purchase order policies. Done. 38,000 being talked about in my budget. How was speculation whether or not I had it, and if so, what it could be used to buy. The new electrician, being the only one that we're allowed to use for the town, even though it's coming out of my budget. I just questioned why there's only one. Cell phones and schedules, why officers' cell phone numbers and work schedules aren't released for officer safety reasons. Went over the detail rates and how much it actually costs the town versus how much it makes the town, and how it is a revenue stream every time that we work a construction detail. It actually brings money into the town. Talked about the quote tricks that the department heads, specifically Chief Collins, were playing with the budgets, and how they were supposedly playing games for years, and we were just loyal to ourselves.
And the fence, chief.
Fence.
And the fence. Talked about getting a fence around the rear of the police department for trespassing issues to keep public out of the area while we park our cruisers. That was it for what should have been done in public.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay. Do we have some
We
abatement?
have 3 abatements, Mr. Chairman. Yeah.
These have been approved by the assessor.
No, you should read the assessor's recommendation. You should read out the map and lot number so it can be reflected in the minutes, and then the assessor's recommendation in each case, please.
Map 414. Okay, on lot number 414, lot 14. Tax map 414, lot 14. The recommendation is to approve abatement of $34,600 in the assessed value for the 2015. For deficits associated with the house. Do I have a motion to approve that?
So said.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Did we have, there's no place to sign here, right? We just approve them?
No, you just, the minutes will reflect.
Okay, that's fine. So you got that one, Steve? That's the tax map. Tax map 113 and lot 29. The deny for the abatement on that one. He recommends a denial. So I have a motion to deny.
So said.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. And map 406, lot 51 and 52. And he recommends denying the abatement request. On lot 51 and abating $18,600 on lot 52. I have a motion on
So
this.
said.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. And then the board of appointments.
Sorry.
There are signature pages.
What are they?
That is the one you just read. I apologize, I didn't have those.
I thought there was always a sign off on it. While we're signing in, do you have the board
We have
commission
planning board,
appointments?
planning board and conservation, 2 planning board and conservation.
You know, what is it in this? These are all the ones. Yeah, 4 or 6 recommended. And these are 2 from us. Okay. Yep, I got this.
We get those appointments? Yeah, next up.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You sign this?
Go ahead, no, just make a motion to
Yeah.
appoint
I
them.
didn't think so.
She's been on it. That's a reappointment for alternate, right?
Yeah.
That would be a reappointment for alternate. We got a letter to reappoint Sue DeCedes as an alternate for the conservation. Do I have a motion?
So said.
Second?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
She should have been on that board for a while. We still need more members on that board. Right?
Commissioner Sue? What commissioner?
We have one from John Weston for the planning board to be reappointed as a regular member. Do I have a motion on that?
So said.
I second it.
All in favor? Aye. And Roy Buckers, if I pronounce that right, for reappointment for the planning board. Do I have a motion on that? For Roy.
So said.
All in favor?
And I second it.
Chairman, on the second motion, who was the regular member for?
That was John
Weston.
Weston.
Thank you.
And the, it was Sue first.
So,
then
yeah,
John,
I got her.
Then John and then Roy. They're all been on the reappointments.
All right, thank
We
you.
still have some openings on conservation, right?
Yeah.
So if anybody knows of anybody that wants to be on the conservation, we have openings on that. And I'm not sure on the biosolids, we have,
No, I believe I'm all filled up now, so we're gonna, get a, get a list out and have our first, meeting in about a week or so.
okay. There's a list on the town website on board openings and whatnot for alternates, permanents. I think we're all set on permanents, except for conservation. If anybody's interested or knows of anybody. Okay. On the bridge update, engineering.
You saw my email to the board.
Yes.
Both Matt and Sean came back from vacation today because it was children's holiday, so they couldn't come tonight. But you wanted them.
I'd like to set up a workshop next Wednesday. Would that be good? Say it. If it's 5 or
Can I do in some dates? Because they're,
next week sometimes. You know,
and you want it in the afternoon, so the road
late
agent,
afternoon.
the road agent can participate.
Yeah, we'll get Matt. Is Matt still there? We're gonna be doing the bridge workshop next week. Any day is good for you. For the engineering
Next
Just to
week?
go over everything?
Nope.
Probably be like at 4:30, 5 o'clock, somewhere around there?
I can send somebody else, but I won't be there.
Okay. Or if you can send the sergeant or something, just to go over with the engineers. And we're gonna get the police chief, the fire chief, the road agent. And
Similar
it's open to the public. Anybody who wants to
state road
come.
bridges again?
The,
Same ones we went over last year?
yes,
Okay.
ones we get the warrant article for.
Yep.
We just wanna go over everything, make sure everybody's on the same line. Any questions, bring them up at that time. But that is open to the public, and we'll post it as soon as we get a date from the engineers. I'd rather not have it, before the meeting, but if we have to have it Monday, we can go for that. So we'll schedule that for next week. And you had a report, Paul? Administrator?
No.
Oh, okay, under old business. Okay.
No. Well, that was my.
Everybody has a copy of that. Public participation in the select board thing. We're gonna try to follow that. We'll probably make amendment to it to have the public input at 7. And go from there. If anybody else has any comments, just email us. Or drop out a note or whatever. Okay, the fire department forestry truck.
Yeah, Chief Hempel sent me an email which I forwarded to you and to Brenda so we could see what was in Chief Hempel's line. The forestry truck is out of commission and it's going to cost between $7,000 and $8,000 for repairs. Fire department repairs so far are $17,000 and loose change out of a budget line of $19,000. We do have in the fire department vehicle maintenance line non-capital reserve account $32,000, of which the chief is requesting that the board allow him to make a withdrawal.
Okay, that fund was set up for when they use up their maintenance up line, right?
The $1,600 left in his maintenance
Yeah,
line.
so we use that up and then we take the remaining out of that. If we have other emergencies come up, we'll have to take it out of
That's
that
right.
one.
So what I would like you to do is to initial, as a consensus, initial this so that I can write a letter to Neil Roberts. Please.
But this is saying that we want to take it all out of the 30,000, right?
No, I'll take it out of his.
Okay.
He'll exhaust his line first.
Okay.
Yeah. And of course, if he had no capital reserve, then we'd have to go over the
Yeah, we
the
got
line. Yeah. So if you could just give me
just it.
3 initials on there, that'd be great. Thank you.
I just put the date on. Did he have any idea when it would be back in service?
No, he did
Good
not.
thing we got rain. So we don't have any forestry. Under new business, we also have, Don wants to talk about opening on Tuesday. So we'll jump onto that next one, if you're ready.
I am. For the audience, I think I'll just talk a little bit of history about the positions. And I'm not talking specifically, I'm just talking about it because Michael is involved in it too. So when we were reorganizing the office prior to Michael's election, the previous board had looked at the positions and had decided that they were going to take from the plan administrator's part of her responsibilities, take the 4 to 6 hours she spent a week on the accounts payable, and then take the money that was going to a contract person that was handling reconciliation. We were going to make a position which became the finance position. And we advertised for it and we placed somebody in the finance position. In the process of reorganizing the office, we looked at the fact that we wanted to open on Tuesdays, and that one of the positions, the assessor was retiring, and that was a full-time position in an office that was made up of mostly part-timers. The planning administrator was part-time, the building administrator was part-time, and the actual selectmen's administrative assistant was part-time. So we took and decided that the planning administrators and responsibility, not the planning administrator, my apologies, the assessing clerk and the assessing administrator responsibilities would be to, through information that came from the retiring assessing clerk, that it could be completed in maybe a day and a half a week, updating the actual assessments, and that the rest of the time could be used to assist the office in terms of opening up on Tuesdays. The opening on, because that was a full-time position and it had been considered to make that a part-time position, that we decided to keep that as the anchor for the office, that the assessing position would become the anchor. And we actually moved that desk from where it was deeper into the office, closer to the counter, so that it could assist the people in the office as the residents came in. One of the keys to it was that after this individual was trained in being able to assess the properties, that it was going to be trained in being able to take the building permit applications. And the question that I have, Michael, is that we know for a fact that that was our plan. You and I were on the board together. The position became open, and we made an offer to bring somebody across the hall to assist us in that position. But the offer was based on the fact that we wanted that person to have the opportunity to be on the town side, because the person had shown an interest in being a town administrator. Now, I know, and I believe you know too, that isn't necessarily saying, okay, we know that the updating or bringing the assessing is in a day and a half, or let's say at the most in 2 days. I wasn't necessarily saying that additional hours of taxpayers' funds was to be used in the training process. It was just meant to say you could learn by being on this side of the hall how the town of Gilmanton operates on the town side. So my question to you, Michael, is if because I've seen it in the paper, and I know that you're saying that you're looking at the job descriptions, but how could you possibly be considering opening on Tuesdays, which was our whole intent, when you're changing all these job classifications? And how would you actually describe the building assessor's job now, when you don't actually, I don't believe you're including it in as to take up and be able to open on Tuesdays? How do you possibly consider that you're going to open on Tuesdays?
I think we brought this up several times last year, Don. Every time we brought it up to open up on Tuesday, they came back with a list of reasons why we couldn't open on Tuesday. And that was from the staff over there. And I believe they came back with us twice last year with that same list, roughly the same. So we're still working on it. We got fingers over there, and we're looking at job descriptions. We're looking at what people do. We asked last month for a list of what everybody does from them, what they do, and we got that. And we're looking at it, and we're reviewing it. We're in the middle of reviewing it. I'd love to see the office open 5 days a week.
Well, wasn't the whole, it's like the whole reorganization, which you were actually involved with because we were both members at the same time, was based on the actual having the finance person, being able to have the planning administrator have more time, and keeping the actual assessing clerk position full-time, because we could have had the opportunity to make that a part-time position, because we had the recommendations from the previous assessor that her job could be done in a day and a half to 2 days a week. So if we go and the actual assessing clerk is in here in the selectmen's meetings, and it's taking time from actually assisting people at the counter, because I've been told that we've had no increase on that position in terms of the amount of hours, then you're you're actually changed the direction that we both agreed upon. We agreed that we were going to train that position to take those building permits so that
We're
when
gonna
the
cross-train everybody over there, I believe
Yeah.
we agreed on. And we're still working on it. We worked on it all last year. You know, when we hired the first person, when we hired the second person. Then we got new people coming in, we're retraining them,
Well, who's new?
the bookkeeper, and she's at 21 hours a week.
That, we
Right.
know, that position was easily, we both know how that position was established. So that doesn't have that, how to open on Tuesdays, that doesn't affect the Tuesday opening. This whole staff was based on, when you and I were there, based on opening on Tuesdays.
It was brought up years ago, I believe Brett brought it up back when he was chairperson, that we should be open 5 days a week. If you look back in a minute. And that's why you guys put in the budget, the year before I got in, these added people. For the financial, for the added land clerk, or whatever you wanna call it, for the planning board.
So-
We hired them, we're still working on it.
Well, if the first time that this occurred to me, and I actually mentioned it so I could look it up in the minutes, I mentioned to you and the previous chairman that I went to the budget committee meeting and I saw the assessing clerk at the budget committee meeting, which I knew was being paid, but that position was not established to have the assessing clerk be at selectmen's meetings and budget committee meetings, and you didn't actually address it at that time, and I brought it up, Michael.
That was last year.
I'd like to say a point of order here. The object that we were talking about is why
We're not
are we
open.
why are we not open
Yes.
on Tuesdays? And we're getting too far off the agenda, saying why didn't we hire this? Why didn't we hire that?
No, it has
So,
to do, the bottom line is it has to do with dollars. And I know how the position was established, and the dollars relate to hours. So I want to know if there's any plan on this cross-training thing, which the chairman was involved in this. I want to know when this is going to start opening on Tuesdays. We had established this. And you've been involved in it too, so it doesn't necessarily mean that. it has
I
to
know I
go to
was
the-
involved in it last year several times. And I
Absolutely.
brought it up several times that I
Absolutely.
wanted that office open. And every time we brought it up, we got that same list on reasons why we can't open.
Well, you're the boss now,
Well, we're still working on it.
okay?
We worked on it all last year, we got a schedule done up, and we're working on it.
Okay.
And once the job description's laid out, and they know exactly what is in there, and I brought up job descriptions last year too. And we've got a lot of stuff in the works right now. But we gotta stay within the budgets.
Michael, there's plenty of money in this budget to be open on Tuesdays. And I'll write it out. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Thanks,
Okay,
Don.
Selectmen's, any selectmen's items?
No.
I have one, Mr. Chairman.
What you want
I
to
think we
say?
need, this has been,
Oh,
you need to reference that so it can go in the minutes, the money from
okay, we
DLT.
finally got the final payment from the DLT of $55,161.36. So we're all caught up with them, except for
We're checking, there's $1,800.
the, not accounted for.
Right.
Was that the pumps or was that,
I believe so, yeah, I've got to
they
get,
only paid for half of it, or one of them, or?
I have to look into that.
But we finally got the payment from the insurance company roughly a year and a half late. And we gave them a deadline last month,
3 weeks ago.
of the 15th to meet with us, and we met, the whole board met with the insurance company, and we went through everything, item by item. So finally, we got the roughly almost $90,000 of taxpayers' money back from our insurance company.
when I met with the chief today, we just talked about a PO. It's $80 over my authority, so I thought you'd have a look at it. Chief can explain what it is, but it is kind of an emergency.
We have a toilet in our booking facility, and it's a tankless toilet, so.
Oh, the flush valve?
Yeah, so it's got a flush odometer, and so what happens is when it calls for water, it comes from the front of the building, and by the time it goes through all the filtration systems, it's losing pressure at each stop. So by the time it gets back to the booking room, it won't flush. So we've tried to have it fixed several times, but it's just not working. So what they're proposing to do is add a
Tank toilet?
tank. No, not a tank toilet, but a
Floating tank?
Yeah, so I think it has like 20 gallons or something. So when you go to flush the toilet, it has that water that it calls for and sends everything from the inside.
You may want to ask them about a total flush valve.
Yeah, I ran a
They
bunch
use
of
a lot less water, and they take a lot less volume.
Yeah, it's only like a gallon, but it's getting a gallon to the
Yeah, they have different valves out there that
Yeah.
could help out in that situation.
Yeah, I talked to 2 different plumbers, and this was the solution they gave me. So without a huge remodel and putting in a new toilet, so trying to.
Because those toilets should be 1.6 gallon. Do I have a motion for the $1,585?
Make a motion.
And I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Keep an eye on the people that are in there, so they don't put stuff in there.
Oh yeah.
Okay?
Absolutely.
All right.
Do you have anything, any other phones? Okay, we have a non-public.
What we're gonna, we all
Make a motion for that.
I make a motion, we go into non-public, RSA 91-A:3, Roman number 2, parentheses A.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for coming.
So that was B. It came out of B. Now you've got what A. It's A and B. We're setting. We're hiring.
A.
We're hiring and setting compensation. So yeah,
We're coming out.
we're coming out.
So
Make a motion to come on non-public.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
I make
And
a motion to seal those minutes.
I second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we need a motion to go back in,
Yeah.
non-public.
Yeah.
I make a
What,
motion
C?
to.
Under B, under A.
Non-public.
Well,
We just written
Can I
down.
ask? I thought that there was
They
a
make a
motion
motion
that
in
needs
public,
to be
right?
made in public
Yes.
regarding what they just did.
yes.
So don't they need to do that before they go back?
Yes.
to their
Yes.
non-public?
Okay, before we go,
We didn't do that.
oh, we made a motion to seal. Do I have a motion to, not mention his name, but for the chief to hire,
To
make the
go
offer?
ahead with, make the offer of a new police officer.
And I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
We didn't mention any names, so.
No.
And I make a motion, we go into non-public, RSA 91-A:3, Roman numeral 2, parentheses C.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right, at least we're in there.
Favor?
Aye.
Do we say the amount in public?
Oh yeah, you just
Start on Sunday
But-
that week.
yeah. See, but enough.
We're in public now. And we didn't seal the minutes.
You did not.
No, we do not do
I
that.
make them,
We don't need to seal them, right? No.
No,
Because we're gonna make the motion in public, so.
we're going to make a motion just now.
Do I have a motion for the raise for Robin?
Mr. Chairman, can you spell it out? Can you say?
We're gonna be raising, Robin's raise from 1750 to 20. Effective date 5/2?
Yep.
Oh, no, I thought that was,
No, it has to be effective today.
Yeah.
But then Brenda will put it in
okay.
the system, and you can't
For the next pay period.
Because if you affect it the next one, it won't be for 3 pay
The next
periods.
Yeah, I didn't know if it went like
No.
on, when's the
No.
pay period end on the town?
Saturday.
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 Yeah.
Ends the 7th, it ends the
It would have
7th.
been the 7th
No,
or something
yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
so she don't have to
No,
calculate.
just leave it, please, as a, yeah.
And I recommend, that we accept that.
I make a motion to put Robin's pay from $17.50 up to $20.
And I second it.
All in favor?
Aye. Cut it.
You stop.
No, stop.
Thanks, Chief.
No,
Is there anything
that's
else?
done.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
Early night tonight.
Get back into
So
it.
she will get paid from today.
Again?
It's good.
For,
Yeah, we'll go back.
I thought we were done.
No,
Well, we got that.
Like I said, we're out of here by 8.
I know, my wife will be happy.
Well, don't get too
I
excited
know
just
those
yet.
licorice, you gotta bring something better than licorice.
But he ate it all. He ate it all. Just
I know, I got
something
2
right
pieces.
now.
I thought he was gonna bite my fingers off.
excuse me.
Say?
Dinner last week was
Yes.
at 11 o'clock,
Yes, we're trying.
because I got out of work.
What are you on, Paul?
Do
You're
you,
so needy.
We gotta go back into non-public,
I made a motion to go back into non-public again.
I second that motion.
which, C?
Okay.
A.
Hey.
RSA 91.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
go ahead.
I make a motion to seal those non-public minutes.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we gotta go into non-public again.
I make a motion to go in non-public RSA 91 A, colon 3, Roman numeral 2, parentheses A.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I make a motion to come out of non-public.
Second?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
And now we're gonna seal the minutes.
I make a motion to seal the minutes.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye. Now, we make a recommendation to
Aye.
come out of, all right, I'm waiting.
He's got a motion to make.
I make a motion that signing a personal action form acknowledging that Heidi Jackson Ryan as Assistant Town Administrator as previously discussed on April 4th, 2016.
Previous discussed,
Previously discussed
no date,
on April 4th, 2016.
no April, right?
What do you want? No, no.
So amend it.
I'd like to amend that, it's not April 4th, 2016.
Do I have a second?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
What about an adjournment?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
The time is 8:51.